Hi, everybody. I hope this day finds you all well. I'm feeling a bit off color today, a little dizzy, but I think it's the heat and lack of sleep. I find it very difficult sleeping in summer. Anyway, let's get on with part two on the Harkle children. Due to my own connection to Britain and my affinity to anything British, I have a better support system and information base in Britain than I have in the United States. And therefore, I could maneuver and make inquiries via friends and contacts a lot easier and quicker, and hence have more information on the Archie situation than I do on Lily. Now, just over a year ago, I posted a video titled A Fairy Tale About a Miracle Royal Birth That Never Happened. I'll post the link in the description box. In that video, I told the story about a sweepstakes scenario which took place at St. Mary's and the Portland Hospital. And of course, I had to do it in such a way that I did not reveal my source. Now, my source did not work at either of the two hospitals, but had close links to both. But this is not about my original source, whom I have gotten to know as a kind and truthful person since the original contact. But it is about what happened since. That original story was about bets being placed. The sweepstakes, if you will, set up by the staff of the hospitals, which included bets on the gender of the child and where the child will be born. As it was told to me then, both hospitals lost out on the wager as there was no sign or record of Megan giving birth at either hospital at 5:26 a.m. on the 9th of May 2019. But if you want to listen to the finer details of the original story, I recommend you click on the link on the screen or in the description box and go watch the original video. The thing is that in the year or more since, more people have come out to me and told me the exact same story. Now, why on earth would I not believe them? They did not ask for their names to be mentioned, so no 5 minutes of fame. They did not ask for money, so what on earth could they possibly wish to gain by telling me this? Not only was there the tweet by Dr. Penelope Law's husband stating that she did not attend Archie's birth, but I also spoke to someone who worked with Dr. Law at the time, and I spoke to her personally, and she confirmed to me that Dr. Law was indeed on holiday at the time. Now, why should I not believe my own eyes and ears? Someone may have posted on Dr. Law's husband's page, but no one but me spoke to the person I spoke to. And months after I had contact with this person myself, she commented the exact same information to someone else. Like I said in my previous video, I also confirmed with the Portland myself that Dr. Gowrie Motha did not have any privileges at the hospital. Yes, no second-hand information, no fake information. I called up, said my daughter was pregnant and considering a birthing hospital, and asked whether Dr. Motha had privileges there as my daughter was considering her birthing methods and regime. The administration clerk actually sounded a little irritable when she told me no. So I guess I wasn't the first person to ask. Anyway, to get back to the sweepstakes scenario at the hospitals, all you need to do to verify for yourself that I was not making up things for clicks and views is to read through the comment section of part one to see for yourself that more people are indeed coming out with the exact same story. At one point, as many of my older viewers will know, I wrote to Kensington Palace and to the Queen. And in the letter, I confronted, or shall I rather say, requested clarity on a number of the discrepancies and anomalies I found. I received no reply. Instead, after one of the letters which I posted a copy of on my website was copied without my permission on Twitter, and Yankee Wally unknowingly read it out on her channel, I received a lawyer's letter requesting information on my source and specifically referring to certain information in the letter. I immediately contacted someone I knew and who is in the legal profession, and he actually laughed at the letter. Although we confirmed via the internet that there was such a law firm in London, the letter was emailed to me. And although it had all the necessary contact details for a response, it was not signed by a specific lawyer or partner in the firm. It was my friend's opinion that the letter was likely done and typed using the firm's letterhead and credentials, and probably done by a secretary or administrative person working at the firm, as the letter also omitted to state who the complainant was or then who their client was. My friend suggested that I ignore it completely. However, by utter coincidence, I had received an email from someone in the legal profession in England who had watched my videos a few times a couple of weeks earlier. So I took the liberty to ask her as well. She also laughed and said I could ignore it if I wanted to. She explained to me how the process for a warrant worked should anyone from outside the borders of my country wish to instigate any kind of civil action against me in my country. And it was her opinion that nothing in the letter would warrant such drastic and expensive action. What peeved her off a little, however, was the fact that the letter was so unprofessional and that someone had the gall to impersonate a lawyer. She suggested that if I wanted to, I could send a one or two liner back in the hope that a real lawyer or his PA would see it and the person who sent it would get into trouble, which is ultimately what I did. I basically said in my reply that I receive thousands of email and DMs and can't remember who it was that gave me the information, but that they are welcome to subpoena me in my country and district in order to obtain my electronics for analysis. Obviously, I never heard from them again. Now, although it is our opinion that the letter came from a person perhaps only working at the law firm, it could even have been a janitor or a cleaning person for all we know. There is always the possibility that I did get too close to the truth and that someone instructed the firm to scare me. Well, it didn't, and for a while I was truly on the warpath, determined to find the truth. I compiled a list of all the discrepancies pertaining to the pregnancy and birth, and I mean every minute little thing. For instance, it came to my attention that Meghan Markle was seen consuming alcohol during an outing in Australia. and again when they attended the opening of a Soho house in Amsterdam towards the end of September 2018. Now, by the 25th of September, the pregnancy was not announced yet, but by then, Megan, if she was really pregnant, would have been almost 2.5 months pregnant. I added things to the list like the swinging wobbly bump, Megan squatting in high heels, traveling to Fiji, an area known for the Zika virus. Now, babies born with congenital Zika syndrome due to infection with the virus during pregnancy are at more than 11 times greater risk of dying during the first 3 years. And guess what? Much of the research and reports on the Zika virus was done in England. So please do not tell me Meghan Markle did not know or was not warned about the risk. Once I have completed the list of things, starting from what I knew or could find out from the time of conception until after the alleged christening, I shared my list with my two learned legal eagle friends, and both came back with the exact same reply. None of it was enough. Yes, all of it is good circumstantial evidence, but unfortunately, until there is something concrete, a piece of paper, an affidavit from someone, or an email similar to those between Jason Knapp and Megan, or a witness, whether he or she is expert or not, none of what we have or think we have will hold up in a court of law. And here is the clincher. The royal family and the Sussexes all have brilliant lawyers, and they know this. And that is exactly why they simply choose not to say anything. They do not need to even deny anything. As a matter of fact, the less they say, the better. And why is that? Well, surprisingly, or it may surprise some of you who have not been on this channel for long, as I have spoken about this before. The biggest reason why it would be disastrous for the royal family and the Sussexes if it is true that the child was not born from the body of Meghan Markle is not because of those titles or because of the line of succession, but because of the possible legal ramifications. Now, let's say Meghan and Harry did use a surrogate, and right from day one, they admitted to it. All would have been hunky dory. Having a surrogate is not illegal. King Charles could even have issued a letters patent to change the old rules and laws to include children born through surrogacy. But let's say they did use a surrogate and Meghan did apply a moon bump and pretended to be pregnant. Well, that is a whole different kettle of fish. We know and saw Meghan and Harry accepting gifts for the baby. It does not matter whether big or small, cheap or expensive. If Meghan wasn't pregnant, she accepted gifts and received special treatment under false pretenses. That would be punishable by law in most countries. Charges such as fraud, theft, impersonation, or even identity theft can be lodged against her. And there are numerous cases where this has in fact happened. Here are a few cases you can go and Google for yourself. The case of Robin Folsom, who was charged with making false statements and one count of identity fraud after she faked pregnancy. Jonna Laureen Vandermoor, Jessica Felder, who was charged with aggregate theft. Elizabeth Jones received 9 counts of felony larceny over gifts she received when she faked a pregnancy. The list goes on and on and on, and it does not matter in which country you search. It happens everywhere and for varying reasons. Some to obtain money, others for sympathy, and some even just to get time off work. In some cases, the woman has mental health issues, and in others, they are plainly devious. Even here in South Africa, there have been a couple of cases, and on your screen is what our South African legal system has to say about it. The other issue is that if Meghan Markle faked a pregnancy, and even if there was a real baby at the end of the day, she will not be the only one at risk of being charged with something. Harry, as a husband, will be complicit, and in a lesser way, so will anyone else in the family who were aware of what she was doing. Now, I've been told two stories. One, that the royal family did not know until it was too late, and two, that they knew, that they were informed, and that the agreement was that Meghan stay out of the public eye from approximately 3 months gestation until the birth, but that Meghan did not stick to the agreement. So who knows? Those are the two stories, and we do not know the truth. The other thing I want to address is the people who had been suggested as possible surrogates. Everyone looked at the lady in brown at the church. Remember the woman who looked pregnant and whom Harry and Meghan acknowledged after a Commonwealth Day service? Well, strike her from your list. I know exactly who she is. She knows about the speculation, and I promise you, she is not the surrogate. She worked at the church, is highly educated, and most, if not all of the royals knew her as result of her administrative position at Westminster Abbey at the time. Then there was the woman at Apothecary, the health and wellness store Harry and Meghan visited one night after hours. Now, I'd spoken at length about the owner's background as a midwife and so forth, but to this day, I do not know for sure who that young woman was, because obviously no one is telling. Some have suggested that Violet von Westenholz could have been the surrogate, but I don't think so, because Violet had her own baby in July 2019. Some suggested that the surrogate was Hale Hinson, the wife of Harry's friend, Dave Hinson, a Paralympic athlete. Someone else suggested that the surrogate was not British and left the country soon after the birth. Now, as I said, and for legal reasons, I want to make this very clear. I don't know who the surrogate is, or even have absolute proof that there was one. But after the Netflix series, I added a possible suspect, in inverted commas, to the list. And who may that be? Well, Ashley Hale, of course. She has a nose similar to that of the woman at the health store, and her hair is very similar. Is there any truth or fact in this speculation? No, of course not. All I know about Ashley is what is publicly available, namely that she is currently an immigration lawyer at Fragomen, Fragomen, in San Francisco. How convenient, wink wink. And that she graduated from Charleston School of Law with her JD in 2010 and the George Washington University of Law with a Master of Laws in 2011. As far as I can see, she is married to Matthew Friedman, who is also an attorney. The point I wish to make is that regardless of what we think, regardless of what we think we know, until someone gets angry enough with the Sussexes or the royal family and speaks out, there is nothing we can do but speculate. The risk to the royal family is, however, that someone knows the truth, whether it is a medical professional, a lawyer, a distant family member, the surrogate, a member of staff. It does not matter. Someone knows, and someone is in possession of first-hand knowledge or a piece of paper which contains the truth about Archie and Lilibet's births, whatever the truth may be. To date, we also know that Meghan had her eggs frozen while she was acting in Suits and after her divorce from Trevor Engelson. This had been verified by numerous sources. I have explained that process in a previous video. I've also been told that she retrieved those eggs in April 2018, shortly before the wedding. What I also know is that if those eggs were frozen in 2013 or 2014 and used in 2018, it is very likely that at the time of having her eggs harvested and frozen, 12 to 15 were frozen, because that is typically the number required for at least one successful pregnancy. But it could also be less, as the average number of eggs retrieved per cycle, and now we're talking about somebody under the age of 35, would be more or less 9 to 10. And out of those, the success rate would be 60% at most. Does that in itself mean anything though? No, unfortunately, it doesn't. So, in closing, let's address one more thing. The question is being asked, why is Meghan so eager for her children to get titles? They don't like the racist royal family and despise England. So, why would they want titles for their children? Well, it is my opinion that by securing titles for the children, they think they are securing the secret. Because if Charles hands the children titles under the current circumstances and knowing that there are legitimate questions about their origin or birth, he will be complicit in whatever the truth or the lie is. Okay, guys, so as you can hear, I don't have much of a voice. I have a lot of background noise due to power outages and having both dogs with me in the bedroom. So I'm going to leave it right here for now. I'll be back with the final part 3, on Thursday. So until then, please take good care of yourselves. Bye.